Hello everyone, welcome to Blue Dragon Actuarial. So this is one question that is still not very well answered, and today we are going to answer this question as clearly as possible, like what we do in Blue Dragon universe, and as well as possible. So the question is, who is an actuary? Now you probably have seen multiple LinkedIn posts, multiple discussions on this, where people just ask who is an actuary, and then they come up with their own definition, further confusing the topic. So today we are going to help answer this question. So the question is, who is an actuary? Obviously, there are some definitions prevalent in the market, and these definitions are related to the following things that we are going to discuss. Our actuary is someone who clear exams. There is always a saying that actuaries are people who are writing 13 to 15 exams, and they are always kind of stuck in the exams. They are always thinking of exams, one exam over, and they immediately start writing another exam. Our actuary is someone who knows a lot of mathematics. So there is also this thought process that actuaries need to know a lot of math, stat, economics. So our actuary is person who has to kind of understand that. The other definition is, which is slightly more mature probably, that actuaries are risk experts and they know everything about risk, right? They know how to identify risk, they know how to quantify risk, manage risk, monitor risk. So they know everything about risk. But none of this are correct. So let us understand who are actuaries through an example. Now, obviously, I've taken this example from my own life because I believe that is the best way to explain who are actuaries. Once I appeared for some exam which is called Bank PO. Now, Bank PO is a famous exam in India. Stand for PO stand for probationary officer, and that is a officer level exam. You get good salary, and so obviously it's a government. It is conducted for government based banks. It is not that easy to clear, especially if you are from a general caste. Like in India, there are multiple caste which is not prevalent in other countries. So if you are watching this video from outside India, you would not be knowing about caste. But unfortunately, the reality of India is you have to deal with a lot of casteism, and that is also prevalent in government exams. So general caste means the higher caste, and they do have lower number of seats. And I struggle to clear that because the cutoffs and everything else are quite high for general caste, right? And the main reason was I was struggling to solve more than 28 questions in maths. Now, math has always been my strong point. I had maths honors before, and even before that, I was working well in maths, right? After maybe class 6 or 7, I till that point I was not that good in maths, but after that time I was pretty well. I was doing pretty well in maths, but then I was struggling to solve more than 28 questions out of 50. And whenever I asked people who have passed, like, how many questions in math section have you have done, and they were like, we have solved 48 questions, we have solved 45 questions. So they are way above the level that I was able to attempt in exam. So here my past has caught up with me, changing my present, eliminating the future. Now you may not have understood this, how my past has caught up with me. So that means basically whatever I have told to you before that, before this, I had good background in maths, and all of those led me to believe that I could do well in this exam, but I was not able to, right? That means I need to change my approach. Whatever approach has worked for me in the past is not going to work for me in the future, and that change is needed to be done in my present. So that is why I've mentioned that my past has caught up with me, changing my present, right? So my preparation should it was not happening in the level that it should have been, so that it was not in the right direction. I was working hard, but I was working hard in the wrong direction, and that is why it was eliminating the future that I want to visualize for myself. And then that is what you call a problem is not something that we can't solve. Problem is something that we need to change our approach to solve. And the main problem was because I had the habit of writing every step in a problem, and that is what you learn in school, colleges, that you have to explain every step so that the teacher is able to understand your understanding of the problem, right? In especially in maths, you do not want to jump steps because that might cause reduction in marks. However, that is not true in a practical life, scenario where you need to give faster answers rather than showing how you have arrived at the answer, right? So that is where I was struggling. I had the habit of writing everything, right? So even for those 28 problems, I was writing everything down. Like, let us assume this variable as x and x equal to this, and then I was solving that. So I was solving it by writing everything down. That would not work because I have to solve it mentally, right? Because otherwise I'll never be able to solve more than 28 questions. So the people who are solving it 45, 48 questions, they were solving it mentally. So I recognize that, and obviously without changing my approach I would not be able to solve this. That is why you see the cross mark. I had to learn Vedic maths or speed mathematics, which enabled me to solve the problem, right, and solve the problem much faster. And yeah, so English, reasoning, general awareness, they were usually easy for me. I was able to solve those with much ease. However, maths was the like my strongest section, was my biggest problem. Finally, after 6 failures in bank PO exam, I cracked the seventh PO exam, and it was a great moment for me. Not because I cleared the PO exam. I never took the job, to be honest, but because I also cleared MBA and I did MBA. But the reason this is important for me is because after 6 failures, I was able to understand, like, once again, I was able to let go of my past. However, I have learned from my past and utilize those learnings in my present to mold my preparation in that way. And finally, I was able to change the result or achieve the future that I've visualized for myself. So that was the problem solving, right? So I took the data from the past, then I changed it. I changed my approach, I improved my approach, and then I got the result that I desired, right? So I also cleared grade A staff selection in one attempt, first attempt, as a byproduct, because I was able to clear the bank PO exam, and bank PO exam is very similar to staff selection. So as a byproduct, I cleared this, and this was much higher level. And had I taken that job, I'd be probably sitting at a very high senior official level, government official, right? But of course, I mean, what that is that was not my choice. Wherever I am today, working as a qualified actuary, as a professional actuary, and of course interacting with you people, that's what make me sharp, and that's what keeps me sharp. That is more important, right? So I reached the thing that I wanted to reach, and that is because I was able to utilize the time, right? And I was able to look into the past. I was able to change or mold my approach in the present, and that eventually translated into a better future for me. This is what I've exactly mentioned. I analyze the data, right? Use those learnings and kind of utilize this learning to change the future. So actuaries actually analyzes the past, that is the past data. They adopt approaches in the present. They will analyze several scenarios and see the risk associated with every scenarios. In doing so, they might need some maths, some stat in order to assess those, in order to quantify those risks. But they would go through multiple scenarios, right? Data in itself is quite numerical, so that is where we say that actually require maths. But it is not that actuaries are mathematician. Actuaries actually analyzes the past, add up approaches in the present, and change the result in the future. So actually, I will tell, this is a mindset, right? And this mindset is based on these three lines that you are seeing, right? Actuaries are neither risk experts, actuaries are neither mathematicians, actuaries are neither exam takers only, but actuaries are these people who are basically best problem solvers and time warriors. So this is what I like to call actuaries. They're problem solvers. Given a problem, they'll recognize what is the past of this problem, what change in approach is needed, because if someone is not able to solve the problem, then they must have tried some approach, and that approach may be traditional. So actuaries are the people who would be able to take non-traditional path, and that is where they had to assess the risk as well, because it is a non-traditional path. There will be some risk associated with it, right? So actuaries would be able to take those path or that path which would be having lower risk by quantifying the risk. And by quantifying, they had to they need to be thorough with the maths, right? Sometimes maths may not be needed. Sometimes some other software might be helping you in quantifying, right? But the mindset, the approach stays the same. And finally, they would be able to change the future. So actuaries deals with past, present, and future. This is the only profession where you will be able to do so, right? Actuaries are like unique in that regard, and that is why I call them the best problem solvers, because they have the best approach, and also they are the time warriors because they utilize time to their fullest potential, and no other profession can utilize time in this way, right? So that's it. I hope now you have a clear understanding of who actuaries are. And if someone asks you who is an actuary, instead of maybe stumbling on some very difficult answer, you would be able to give a very simple answer, and that would be able to clear what does actuary do. So actuaries are problem solvers and time warriors. I want to share this video with everyone and repeat this, that actuaries are problem solvers and time warriors. See you in future videos.